I welcome you to this presentation which will help you to reinforce your numbers orientation. I am Ajoy Basu. As you can see on the screen, proficiency at numbers orientation is a function of your understanding and ability to apply financial and accounting concepts, and equally important, your mastery over spreadsheet skills. When you are adept at instantaneously choosing and deploying the right Excel tool to compute or extract information very quickly, it has a magical and catalyzing effect on your performance. I've seen many senior functionaries hitting the glass ceiling in mid-senior management despite solid strength in their core domain, but struggling in numbers orientation. As I always stress in this forum, communication skills is one more pillar, weakness in which can cost you the most critical part of your career, right there at the top. While Microsoft Excel provides you with several varied spreadsheet functions and formulae, you need to use a combination of such functions and formulate them into deployable tools. That's what I try to bring to you in these set of Excel applications. This series of spreadsheet skills will introduce and train you to use these pre-developed tools, which can make a significant difference to the way you handle select tasks. Of course, you will need to adapt them to your requirements, which your RIAs should ensure. In this capsule, I introduce you to a very efficient way to extract information from a database using the unique, sort, and Sumifs functions in one tool. I use them very often, and I'm sure it will be a revelation for most of you. Let me practically demonstrate the deployment of this select tool step by step. So for the practical demonstration, we have come to the Excel workbook, and let us first study the database from which the relevant information needs to be extracted. So we have the TRP numbers orientation banner at the top. You're looking at unique, sort, and Sumifs to do the magic. And the objective is to extract aggregates or specific items from the database involving certain criteria. So let us look at the database here. I've used this for one more function earlier, the same database. You'll be able to identify with it if you have seen my earlier videos on numbers orientation, wherein I have invoked tools for the use of Microsoft Excel. So you have details of sales here, you have the dates, you have the bill number, you have the customer, your product, you have the total, which is the purchase value, and what the customer has paid. So you have the entire list of transactions over dates from the 2nd of April 2019 to the 9th of July 2019. You have the names of people here. You see Pramod here. Pramod appears twice here. He appears again here. So you will need to find out, if you have to find out how much Pramod has purchased over a period, you'll need to have aggregate information related to transactions which he has entered. Similarly with others. Even on the product side, you can see that milk appears twice, glucose appears here, then again here. So they are appearing multiple times, and extracting information becomes that much more difficult when you want it in a very concise form. So what are my queries which I need to address? What is the total figure of purchases made by each of the customers? What is the total figure of milk purchased by each of the customers? So now let's work out the solution. This is the one, an answer which has already been extracted. I will demonstrate another one on similar lines for you to understand better. But let us understand the solution in the first place. I will first invoke the function of unique. Unique will help me. So unique customers. So unique is a function which has come in rather recently in Microsoft Excel, and I've used it to have Pramod only once here. So if I can see Pramod, Hitesh, Anil, they will appear only once, but it's extracted from here. And you can see the formula used here. Here I have invoked the function of formula text. You can see here on the address bar that formula text H18. H18 is Pramod. So the function is unique C10 to C44. C44 because the database extends to row C44 to capture the information. The next, so this gives me, unique gives me this. Sort function is H18 to H31. H18 is here, 31 is up to here. So this gives me a sorting arrangement in which I have used ascending order from A to Z so that it's properly ordered. And then we have the Sumifs. Sumifs is used to extract information. I need to find out what are the total purchase items which are in the query, the value of purchases. So I use Sumifs here, and if you can see Sumifs, the function is E10 to E44. E10 is my total value which has been identified. Then it says which is the which you'll see that in a little while. C10 to C44 is the name of the customer who's listed here, C10 to C44, and from that I'm extracting information relating to I18. I18 is Amit, so whatever is related to Amit will be captured, and that is 300. Similarly, you have for other people. You need to understand, as an Excel functionary, you can say that whenever you see a dollar sign here, it means that that particular part has been made a constant. Whenever you see a dollar sign, it would indicate that you probably would be using a drag down or copy command to extend it to the next of the lines that follow. That makes life easier because you need to put the formula only in the topmost row and just drag them down. We have used Sumifs again now for purchase of milk. For milk you use two criteria. For instance, here it is similar to the above when you are defining E10 to E44 like you do here. That is the value of the purchases, which is your E10 to E44, and then C10 to C44 is the next criterion. So when you have to look at milk, I need to have one more criterion added to my formulae. So when I go for the milk part, if you can see this particular formula text I have used, that is K18. So K is this column, and I first use the same formula which is used right above, that is E10 to E44, C10 to C44, and then I18. But now I have to supplement it with one more criterion, and that is D10 to D44. D10 to D44 is the product, because now I need to also get how much of the purchase relates to milk. So D10 to D44 is, it depicts all the individual items which constitute the products that the customers have bought, and out of that I again look at K17. K17 for me is K17 here, milk. So I identified milk separately, and once I do that, again you can see the dollar sign. I've got these figures. So then I get the report here. So you can see Amit has not bought milk, Anil also has not bought, Arjun has bought for 450, Arun has bought in 250. I've not put in the currency of purchase for the forum in which you'll have people from different countries using different currency. So you can use whichever currency is appropriate to your country. So this is the report which I get. This addresses my query of what is the total figure of purchases made by each of the customers. So I have each of the customers beautifully sorted out here. I have the purchases made by each one of them, and how much is the milk part purchased. You can use the same principle and then extend it for, say, the butter, the glucose, the jam, the cheese, etc. So this can be extended. Once you understand this principle, the mechanism of how it is done, you'll be able to do it easily. So let us say I want to recreate this, and that is to help you understand how it is to be done. So I'll first put the titles here. I can just straight away pick up from the answers. You need to practice this regularly, and practice is what will make you perfect. So the first thing I need is I need to use the unique function. So equal to unique, I open the bracket. I can use the drag down here. So the array needs to be pulled in. The array, if you can see here, is C10 to C44. So I go to C10, mark till C44. Yep. And OK. So I get them right up to here, up to Raj. If you want to know how many of them are there, I can 1. I add one more to that to get chronological order. That's the way I've been doing over the years. I can center it. Okay. Now I have to sort this out. So I use this function, sort H18 to H31 1. That is here, but in this case the H18 is shifted here. So I use the sort command. Again I can use the drop down. I see here, let me take this to the side. So I mark all this right up to here. Now I can use the sorting order. +1, if I put in, it will be ascending order, and -1, it is given here, will be the descending order. Let us put +1 in this case. So the same set of names which you have in the H column, that has been rearranged, sorted out, and put it in the alphabetical order here. Now I need to put in the total purchases. The total purchases, as we know, the Sumifs E10 to E44, C10 to C44, and I18. So let me invoke the Sumifs formula. Equal to Sumifs. I can again use the drop down. You can use the drop downs for specific function, again, unless it's a nested formula where you're using a combination of formulae. You can use the drop down, makes life much easier. So in the Sumifs, I will first need to mark the column from where I need to pick up the value. So that is your E column right up to 44. Then the criteria range. Initially I need how much each one has purchased. So C column is where I will need to target. I target this one, mark it up to 44. And the criteria for which customer, because I have mapped C10 to C44, which is the custom. So I will have Amit here, which is the sorted out first name, and I click on that. So I get 300. Now I need to drag this down. So how do I drag this down? So my range here, CE10 to E44 remains the same. I just need to press the F4 key and I get $2 there. Very good shortcut. F4 again gives you a $. Then C10 to C44, this 2 I need to make it constant, and this 2 I need to make it constant. And I37, no, then when I drag down, the next one should be I38. So this I should not make it into a constant. I just enter, I get 300, and from the corner I just drag this down right here. So you can see that this is that. If I need to cross check whether this is correct, I can use equal to sum, mark this 17371, which matches with the figure here. There is no difference. I can reduce the decimals, and there's no difference. So this is taken care of. We have got the total purchases made by the customers, and it is customer wise. Now let us get to the figure of milk purchased by each customer. So you're not only going into the total purchases, but now you're getting into a part of it, which is your milk. So how do I come to that? So as we studied earlier, I still will invoke the Sumifs formula. The Sumif formula will again take the drop down. I take the total value of purchases, which is again from E10 to E44. Then the criteria range for me will be, first is the customer. So that takes me to C10 to C44, and my customer is the first one, Amit. Then I come to my second criterion, that is my product, because now I have to target milk. So I've got milk here. Again, now from D10 to D44, and my criteria 2 is milk. So I've got it right now. E10 to E44 is my purchase value. C10 to C44 is my customer. And my customer which I have identified is I37. D10 to D44 is my second range for the criterion. That is product. And then K36 is the milk. So that's okay. So that's okay. 0. No customers. And now I have to put in the $sign. That is to make them constant. E10 to E44, yes, I need to make it a constant. C10 to C44, again, constant. That should not change. I37 is Amit. Now if I drag down, the next one should be Anil. So I should not make this a constant. D10 to D44, yes, I need to make it a constant. K36, milk. I should make it a constant because I'm only looking at milk there. So 4. I have 4 and that gives me a 0 here. Now let me drag this to get to the rest of the customers. There it is. So you can see this is matching exactly like what was earlier. If I need to check on them whether they match or not to the solution, initially you should try and work comparing it with the solution. Then in a little while you will see that you don't need to look at the solution. These are aids that facilitate training. So there's no difference between the two answers. So I've extracted them. I can then do the aesthetics as in how I want. I can take this to the right. I can put this into a chart form with borders, etc. Yes, and there it is. Do not go beyond that. I think the concept, the application is fully established. This is my extraction of aggregates of specific items from a database involving certain criteria. You could recall that when we did advanced filter, we had the entire list coming forth. Here the objective is not to take the list out, but to get the totals, aggregated information, and I can take it further for a percentage analysis, trends, etc. about which product is doing well. There are further functions of Excel which we have to learn as we go forward to process it further. But unless you are able to get this aggregated information from a large database, this is just 44 lines. You could have thousands of rows of information, and you can extract this in a way. So you have select customers or your patrons. You need to identify. Today the softwares will be able to give that. The point of sale software will be able to give that information. But as an analyst, sometimes you need to invoke this function and extract the required information for your reports. This is something which I use very often, and I felt that if I need to advance a specific Excel function to you to bolster up your numbers orientation, this should be one of them. Trust you've enjoyed this particular part of the presentation on numbers orientation. Thank you very much for watching. You'll find more of numbers orientation, select words and sentences, the interview skills, tools for the businessman, etc., etc. on my YouTube channel, where I've aggregated, compiled and aggregated all of them at one place. My channel name is Job Performance Enhancement Mastery by Ajoy Basu. Thank you.